everyone. This is Kristie with AG Takes Over. Glad you're here. If you are familiar with my channel, if you're not, welcome. I'm so glad you stumbled across this. If you are familiar with my channel, you know that I have several doll houses, lots of doll spaces, and that I love them. I spend a lot of time decorating them for different seasons, moving things around, changing the dolls that are in them. It's a fantastic creative outlet for me, and it just brings me joy. It brings me joy to see other people's doll houses, to share my own, and to just spend time in our doll spaces. So a little over a year ago, I went down to the basement and I was like, all right, I've been storing doll stuff down here, but not displaying it. Just literally, it's crammed in spaces down in the basement. And I thought, well, it's already kind of in a corner and there are two exterior walls, obviously. What if I put some curtains up and kind of created two other walls and did a little painting and kind of zhuzhed it up on a shoestring budget? And I basically created a little doll city. And I was like, this is amazing. And I love it. But also in the back of my mind, I was hoping that someday I could make actual walls instead of curtains for the other two walls, because wouldn't it be nice if it were a proper room? So my sister-in-law, Amy, who is an amazing, kind, generous, funny, fantastic, just amazing person, is also a carpenter. And I put the bug in her ear a while back that I would love to frame out these two walls. And I said, if she said, sure, I would be happy to do that with you. And I actually talked to her about a couple of other projects I wanted to do at the same time. One more down in the basement and then one upstairs. And we picked a time in August, and I took off like five days of work, and so that I could help out. And then the rest of it just happened in the evenings. Like, she kept coming over, but I couldn't take really more than a week off. So anyway, I'm going to show you kind of day by day for the first few days progress. And then after that, it all became a blur. Like, after that first week, it was just whenever I could sneak in a little bit of work. So I will take you through like what things look like before. And I will put links to more in-depth dollhouse tours at the end of this, but it should give you a good peek at some of the spaces, and definitely a good overview and like the stuff that's new, the walls. Okay, enough rambling. Let me dive in. Okay, so day one, I'll just kind of give you an overview of the room before I did anything. Ignore all the mess over on the left because it's a mess. Here's the room. It has kind of this half wall here. Like I mentioned, it's just out of drop cloth, and I will be repurposing that. There's another one over here that I hung. I'll be repurposing that. Bunch of basement over there to the right. But this is the most finished part. So I covered the insulation, uncovered, covered, painted it white, dungeon over on the left, and white over on the right. So this is the most finished part of the basement, like I said. But it is getting much more finished. So we're going to be putting a wall all the way across here, and then all the way across here, and a door somewhere in the middle there. I'm so excited. That means, like I said, cats can't get in here. If there's a tornado warning, then we can come down here without risking my daughter finding out about this space. My younger daughter is 4.5. She has plenty of dolls and plenty of doll spaces. She has her Willy Wisher house. She has a doll house of her own. If anybody's watching for the first time, you don't need to feel like I'm depriving my child of the opportunity to play with dolls. Don't you worry. And we let her play with our dollhouse that's upstairs on the second floor. But this is like a doll city, and I just want it to be mine alone for a little while longer. Um, there's doors. Two of those doors that are like the tallest are going to be for down here. And then there was one sitting on its side that's going to go upstairs on the first floor. And I'll probably stick that in here, even though it has nothing to do with the doll room, just because it turned out looking amazing. So yeah, sorry if this makes you dizzy, but I just wanted to give you a like once over of everything. So here's a picture of the curtains pulled off, everything kind of pushed to the center of the room, rug rolled back a little bit, and we've put the beams across the top and the bottom. We didn't drill into the concrete. This is just like a tension wall. I don't know what the proper term is for it, but there you go. Here's a quick once over of all the chaos with some of the things still in there. We're going to try to cover it up as best we can. Got the air compressor ready to go. Something just crashed behind me. And here's the start of framing. My sister-in-law is just fantastic, and she didn't make me self-conscious whenever I needed to ask something twice. Some of the things that we were doing with framing and hanging drywall are things that I have done, but like once in my life forever ago when my 23-year-old was like 9. So I didn't remember what I was doing, and I said, "But if you I'm good at following instructions, so just tell me what you need and I can do it." And we made a really good team. The first day we got these 2 walls and one other wall framed. We were aiming for framing 4 walls because there's a little space on the opposite side of the basement that houses like Christmas presents and some other things, just storage. And I wanted it behind walls and like shut off. So I said, since that one's in a corner too, we'd get 2 rooms by basically only building 4 walls. So she came back. We did short days, by the way. Both of us were like, "Meh, we are not in our 20s. Let's do like 5-hour days." So we would do 10 to 3 each day. The second day, we framed the 4th wall and started hanging drywall. And I don't remember exactly how far we got on that, but I know that's all we did the second day. So 1 full day, drywall hung. And look at that room. We made that. There's the storage that I was talking about. So that'll be less of an eyesore. And also, if we're coming down here for tornado drills, she's not going to risk seeing her Christmas presents. Look how good. So much drywall went up. It's so messy. There we go. End of day 2. Feeling good. I mean, sore, but day 3. Hang more drywall and more drywall and more drywall. So one of the things, obviously in the doll room, we put drywall on both sides of the walls. But I was like, oh, you know what? In the storage room, I bought enough drywall to frame or to do the inside and the outside, but it's a storage room. I do not care at all if you can see the beams from the inside of it. Meanwhile, the framed space underneath our stairs coming down into the basement, I had just put a cloth up over it before, and I was like, I wonder if Amy would mind using all that drywall and like finishing this wall off instead. And she was like, it's not really, other than like building a box to go around that pipe, it's not really any extra work for me. And I was like, great, it's not really any extra money for me. So let's divert those resources. So she worked on that on day 3. I believe it was day 3 that she worked on that. Day 4, I finally started mudding. And for the rest of the time, it was basically like Amy keeps doing other things. I keep mudding and sanding. Amy keeps doing other things. She moves on and finishes this entire wall by herself. And I just keep mudding, taping, mudding, mudding, mudding. It took for freaking ever. It was so messy. But look at it. That was the progress on day 4. And like I said, at some point I just lost track. I don't know. The mudding and the sanding just all blended in. All I know is I felt like I kept doing the same thing and she moved on and did the rest of things. So there's where I repurposed the curtains. And if anybody remembers watching the video where I showed like, oh, I put these curtains up, I was like, I don't know. I don't want to invest too much money in like these temporary walls because at some point I do want to put up permanent walls and maybe I can reuse these. So I was excited that I was able to put them to some use. They're just covering up more stuff that's an eyesore. And then here's a project that we did upstairs. I'll try to stick in a before and after, but this was just a big open space. And now it is lovely, but can be shut off. That's our library back there. And then while I was downstairs still doing mudding, Amy not only did that wall or that door upstairs, but she also did this door and framed it. And she did that door and put some trim around it. And this is a fun thing. I just wanted to pause and show you anybody who has never done this kind of project. My sister-in-law had these poles that are extendable, and they've kind of got like pedals at the top and the bottom, and you can extend them so that you put plastic on them. It kind of like holds the plastic on it. There's like a little clip, and you can create a wall of plastic sheeting. And so all of the doll stuff that I was so worried about, I was able to create this um, walled off space just with the plastic sheet. So I don't know how much that tool costs. It's like a set of poles that came in a bag, but it was genius. I mean, especially since I could borrow it instead of buying it. And then she was done and back at her home enjoying some much deserved rest and relaxation, I hope. And I got to move on to painting. So there's me looking a little crazed. There's some paint on the walls finally. Yes. There's some paint on the door. Pause for a selfie. And then I think it only took 2 coats. And by the way, we used paint from when we had the house built. So I didn't spend any money on the paint. That was good. All right. So putting it back together, I'm going to tell you, I moved some of this furniture around probably 3 times because even though I took measurements, I was like, I don't know. No, this should go over here. I'm hoping that I can put this here. Exhausting. I don't know. I probably was too tired and couldn't think straight. But yeah, here's the chaos before. And then here are pictures once things were put back in. And I'm going to do a like pan all around at the end. So don't worry, you'll get to see it all kind of together. All right, I do want to pause here and point out that white box with the greenery and the red star. So, what's behind there is a fuse box and an internet box. And my sister in law built this around it. I painted it, and we had this greenery that's just plastic that Grace had bought for doll photo backdrops. And I just put 4 nails in. It's just hanging on nails. So if I need to change any fuses or flip the breaker or anything like that, it will be very easy. It'll take me like 1 minute to get that greenery off. And then the star is from the Columbus store like when it closed. I got that star from someone as a present on the day that the store closed. So these did not get moved. Thank goodness. All they got was pushed over. Here I switched the bakery and Blair's restaurant. And then I noticed that that made Blair's restaurant look really low down because that train table is lower than the other one by quite a bit. So I went out to the garage and I got a couple scraps of wood and I put them underneath the table, which you can see there. And I might even go back out and grab a couple more of those leftover wood pieces. But yeah, it was nice to put the bakery a little bit more front and center since that's such a massive piece. And then look at this. Just feast your eyes on this. Our hideous and also glorious iconic chair from the American Girl store in Columbus. We got that again the night it closed. The employees actually reached out and asked us if we wanted it. I bought the little table next to it at Goodwill for $3 because the top of it was kind of looking really rough, and I just put a circular placemat on it. I brought down the Play with Passion poster from the second floor doll room, and I bought the 30-year-old Addie poster that's to the left side of the door there. I bought the poster frame from Goodwill based on the eBay listing measurements for the poster. Either I made a mistake or they made a mistake because I got it and I was like, "Oh, this poster frame is way too tall." So I moved the poster all the way to the top and I put a couple illustrations from extra copies of books from the title pages of extra copies of Addie's books that we had. So I think it turned out really well. This door to this room is key coded. Like it's not a key, it is a security code, which I don't know, it just makes it feel a little like you are coming into a very important space, and you are. Here is a quick, hopefully it won't make anyone dizzy, but just spanning the whole room once it was done. And then I've got an outro filmed that I'll tack at the end and we'll call it good. So that's it. That's the room. I'm going to try to say this succinctly because I'm so overwhelmed in the best possible way that I've tried this outro a couple times and I keep being like la, 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 for 5 minutes. Um, if you share your home with adults, with pets, or especially with young children, I hope that you can feel me on this. There is something almost sacred about having a space that is off limits to everyone, that my daughter doesn't even know about, and that I can just come down in the morning for 5 minutes before I go into work. I'm awake before everybody else, and I know that this space is going to be clean and it's going to be visually pleasing, and I'm not going to like look at things and start going, I need to do this. Crap, I'm behind on this. Oh my gosh, I wish she would have picked that up. Oh my gosh, I need to vacuum again because the dog's shedding nonstop. Like, there's no fur in here. There's no, it smells lovely because the cat box is out there and the door is shut and there's a wallflower in here and it smells so lovely, like pumpkin s'mores. And it's exactly as I left it. And it's beautiful and it's quiet and it's my space. And I think that most of you can probably relate to just how amazing that is. So, yeah, I'm going to be filming down here quite a bit, but I'm also going to be spending quite a bit of time down here, just me, just like now at 10 at night by my lonesome and loving every precious, gorgeous, detail filled, yet not cluttered minute of it. So, thanks for joining me. Take care. I will see you very soon. Bye.